Hello, guys, welcome and thank you all for this session. I want to believe you can hear me loud and clear. Please feel free to drop a comment in the in the chat so that I can be sure that you can hear me very well. I want to appreciate you for joining, and today we're going to be learning together something really exciting that we'll be going through today, and that is building machine learning model with Python in Excel. Okay, so I'm just going to take a few seconds to check and be sure that you can hear me. Glad to be here. Good evening. Awesome. Gift is also passing comment. Glad to be here. So eager to be amazing. Thank you guys. I will be featuring your comment as well. So yes, let's keep them coming. Awesome. So I'm very hopeful because I want to do this in 1 hour. So I'm hopeful that we can go really far with what we have today. If we can, then we have to put this weekend to complete it. I'm going to do two things. I'll talk about them first. We will explore and have the basic understanding how to work with Python. And then we will do a machine learning project. So beyond, so these are two use cases, and I'm going to give you a project to work on, give you a data set, and you too, you can work on it, and use this to demonstrate your skills, your knowledge, and so on. I'm trying to highlight people joining, just to say thank you for joining. Evening, guys. Can hear you clearly. Good evening from here. Of course, feel free to drop where you are joining from. I'm from Lagos, I'm from Nigeria, from different places, part of the world. Drop wherever you're joining us from. And of course, I will call that out. Frequently, you might see me looking here because of the screen or looking there because of another screen. But definitely, I would always be checking your comment and make sure that everything is syncing. Okay. So let's move on and let's move to the next screen here. All right. So today's workshop will be an adaptation of the post from Anaconda. So recently it was announced that Microsoft partnered with Anaconda to make Excel available within Python available within Microsoft Excel, and that will enable individuals to harness the power of Python to unlock new capabilities in Microsoft Excel's familiar interface. Because you already know this interface, you work with it. Some of you are still doing your data analytics project, you are still using Excel. But let's see how exciting this can be and the kind of value it can bring. So first, this is how it looks like. When you open your Microsoft Excel, you will see this, insert Python. Wow, this icon is interesting. Now Python in Excel. This is how it looks like. In the later months, I mean from October thereabout, there will be Copilot right here in Microsoft Excel that will even help you. So the goal is not about writing complex codes to do the work. It's rather writing the minimal code but getting the best of the value. So when Copilot appears here, when you want to do your Python, you just tell the Copilot what you want to do. I want to format this, I want to format that. I'm going to give you the Python script. Just insert, it goes right there, and it's this impact or effect will take place on your data. And yes, you will need to have enrolled, because this feature is currently in beta channel of Microsoft Excel. It is not currently available in the stream the channel that's available for everyone. So you will need to enroll for the Microsoft 365 Insider program. I released a video about this morning. So if you go to my channel, this same channel you are on, after this program, after this session, you can go there and follow that prompt. And this is what it will look like. When you go to your file account settings in Microsoft Excel, you're going to see this Microsoft 365 Insider to show that you can activate this. And after you've enrolled to the channel, you're going to see beta channel about Excel. That is the channel. If what you see here is current channel, then you cannot receive this until it is made mainstream, because it's currently in beta mode. So you need to also sign up for this. And in some instances, you will not see this Microsoft 365 Insider appearing, so you can't even enroll for the beta. In that same video, I shared how you can use command line to activate that. And then the update might not come immediately. For me, it took me a week, and I did it on another system, and then in one day, it came up. It shows after the second day, like I was able to see it, and some even in hours. So because they release this update every once in a week, so we are not sure when this update runs, but it's good to just do yours and let me know if you currently have this. I'm trying to look at the comment section. If you have this data or beta mode activated, please do feel free to just post this and pass a comment. Oh, I have the beta, so that I'm aware and I can know that you have it. All right, back here. So this is the video on my YouTube channel that shows how to get it done, how to enable Python in Excel, enable Microsoft 365 Insider. You can go to the channel, you definitely find this app there. All right, so once again, it's not too much to ask for. Like this video, it makes it more visible for other people to learn. This is just one of those content. So that rare content that you find trying to go into the technical things in Excel, so it's a way to encourage that effort. Okay, we don't have enough content around it, but someone is willing to go out there and say, let's do it. Let's make the mistake together. And as a matter of fact, I'm doing it live. So it's not like, oh, I'm going to make a mistake and edit everything. It's still part of learning, but right there, it takes some courage and guts to get this done. So feel free to like this video and subscribe to this channel. It's give you more visibility and to encourage the effort behind this. And of course, you can set notification. Going forward, I try to do more of this kind of content, and I'm sure you're going to love that. Okay, so first thing you need to know is this Python that is in Excel came with over 400 packages pre-installed. So how can I install this library? Over 400 libraries has been installed. All you're just doing is import pandas, import that. So it's interesting because the goal is not to get you overwhelmed with technical jargons. You are not going to be wasting your time or take as long time it takes traditional data scientists who is learning Python on the different IDE. All those settings, setup, everything they do. You are not doing that. So the goal is to help business people who already have access to Excel and using it for a lot of things to then enjoy the dividend of advanced analytics. So the same data you were analyzing before, without doing that, now you can do some machine learning on top of it to get more value and deeper insight. I also had a Twitter space session yesterday where I shared, interestingly, how business can derive value. I mentioned quite a number of things. Number one, data cleaning. You can use this feature now to clean your data better. Number two, you can visualize data more beyond the traditional chart that comes in Excel. You can use Python library to do some beautiful visuals. Number three, you can do deeper analysis by taking it further beyond just pivot chart and some if functions and formulas just to get things done. Number four, someone who is trying to transition to data science. This is the opportunity for you because it's now easier. The tool you are familiar with, it's easier to start learning, that part through the tool. That's to democratize the skill. That's amazing for me. And so many other benefits, but let's get in. Let me be sure there are no questions yet. Thank you, guys. I see a lot of comments, engagement all over the place. This really appreciate. Okay, so I'm going to switch fully to screen and then so that we can move on. All right, so we are to create machine learning, and this is a workshop which is a blog from Anaconda team, Valerio Maggio, but I'm going to be adding context to it, explain, break it down instead of copy and paste. We type it together, we'll see. So I was hoping that we can take that in 1 hour. But before that, before I even use the data set I was using this thing, it's Iris data set, which is common, is a library data set that people have used on several projects for data analysis, for even in R, you use that same library as well. I feel I'm more connected to the audience like this when you can see my face. Okay, so let me put this on. So right now I'm going to stop sharing my screen and then share directly again my screen so that I can see the Excel that I have with me. All right. So I believe you can see this now. This is a blank Excel. It's free, and I might end up now closing my video so that you can see it more. Okay, so that's what otherwise I would have felt to stay connected. So this Excel, and just like I mentioned before, if I go to File and go to Accounts, you're going to see right there I have Office 365 update we installed. In fact, there's update I can install directly now. I'm already in the beta channel, and the channel that I'm running is better. Sometimes you signed up for the beta channel and you see that you are there, but the version you are still using is current version, current channel, meaning you will not see that feature yet. So, but as far as you can see that you are signed up for beta channel, just know that the update is yet to roll up. But if you see anything like this kind of orange thing, just go ahead and update. Maybe that's the update you're waiting for. Okay. How that is clear. Oh, thanks. I see Omolola from Czech Republic. Yeah. I mean, thanks for joining. I see people joining all the way from UK, Ridu and Jimo. I really appreciate. Thank you guys. And a lot from Nigerians. You know, I see Ghana. Wow, this is diverse. I appreciate that. See people from Nigeria. Miracle Ajiboye, thank you for joining. Okay, let's get, oh, wow. Sadiq from Ontario. Wow. Thank you very much, my brother. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate people joining and also engaging with comments. So let's go ahead and get to work. I feel like I like going straight to work, but I also need to be aware of the audience because this is a community learning together. We are co-learning. So I love that. Okay, so now that you see the feature is there, how will you see it? When you go to formula menu, you know, we have different menu options here. When you go to formula, you're going to see the insert Python. So let's look at it briefly. And how do you want to experience this? Let me go here and click on this insert Python and say try Python samples. This will help you all to better appreciate. Let me zoom this. Okay, I'm zooming this size, but this guy is not zooming. Okay. Okay, so now when you click on try samples, it's going to pop up something at the right hand side there, which is the same thing that Copilot will do, but you'll be able to prompt Copilot. And just right here, it's showing you what you can do. For example, with this Python, can you describe data? Yes. So let me click on insert. When I click on insert, the same data set that we'll be using today for our machine learning model is what we have right there. It's interesting because that's the same data set and it's already into it. So it's saying, oh, this data, if you click on this guy here, they're called data frame. If I zoom this should be clearer. Yeah, at least this should be a bit clearer now. Mindful of the comment. Joining from Bradford, UK. Thanks. Wow. A lot of families from UK, Canada, Ghana, all the places. Thank you. So right here, you can see the data frame. And if you look at the formula bar, something is here. There's a data frame. So as a data analyst who does not know this, I'll try to explain this. In data science, when you use Python or R for your machine learning or data science project, you cannot see the data visually except you use those GUI interface, unlike Excel where the data is right there with you. So you store the data in variable, a container that can hold this data for you. And that is what variable means here. And so it's still using the same concept that this Excel file that I can see at my left-hand side, I want to store everything in a data frame because Python works with data frame. So storing it in a data frame, we call it sample DF, sample data frame. That's the variable name. And then it's using XL to load it. That is the function that is loading for you now your data and converting it to a data frame. And where's the data? This is the data, Irish data set 2 as all. And what's that doing is simply saying that, oh, this data I have here, I want to convert it to a data frame. And it's saying header equals to true. Header equals to true means that, oh, the header matters. So take the first column there as the header so that that's the variable name. And that's exactly what is happening right here. So, and after that is done, it has loaded the data into that data frame. And what you then have next here is, if you click here, you see, it's just sample DF, which is the name of data frame. We are describing it. Describe function in Python. Describe, and you open and close the bracket, and just shows you the 5-number summary. The 5-number summary includes, you know, of course, this additional data alongside now, which is the count. How many data do we have there? 150 rows. That's what it means. What's the mean for each of those variables there? For example, sepal length, the average is 5.84. You know, the standard deviation is 0.82. The minimum value there is 4.3. The first quartile, which is 25 percentile, is 5.1. The Second quartile, which is the median, 50th percentile, is 5.8. The third quartile here, which is 6.4, and the maximum value is 7.9. So this thing here, minimum, up to this part, is what we call 5-number summary. It can tell us how a data distribution, how the data is distributed. If you just give you this 5-number summary, you can, and the mean and the standard deviation, you can tell how that data distributed. Maybe there's a outlier there, maybe data is sparsely distributed, or they are close to each other. This 5-number summary can give you those information. And just by just writing sample.df describe, you can see all of this. And let's go again and see other things here. We'll get familiar with how this thing works, and I will write them again from scratch, but I just want to show you this by clicking, then I will write them as well. So another one is to plot scatter plot. The same data set, it imported. Okay, so what's happening here? Then I click on this chart. Yes, this is the chart right there. Right there. That's the chart. And I just, except I expand on this column. Yeah, that's when you can, and I expand here. So that's the way it works. You just have to expand the column and the rows to see it very big. This is a scatter plot. And how was this done? First, import matplotlib.pyplot as PLT. That is, matplotlib is a library for drawing chart in Python. We have matplotlib, we have seaborn, we have several other libraries. So the one you want to use to plot this is matplotlib. And we are shortening it and give it this alias, PLT. So import pyplot from matplotlib and save it as this alias, PLT. So anytime I use PLT, you know that I'm calling pyplot, which is to plot something for me. And of course, applying that one directly on this data set. PLT, which is pyplot.scatter, there are different type of chart. We're saying scatter chart. And for this scatter chart, we then say, oh, take the X and the Y. You need the X and the Y. So the separ length is the X and the separ width is the height, the X and Y. And if you look at it, what's the need? Why are we having Irish data set? Because we did not save it as a data frame. In this second option, it wasn't saved in a data frame. If it was saved in a data frame, I just need to call the data frame and put the variable I'm interested in inside the data frame. But because we are more or less like loading them from beginning, that's why we have this Excel Irish data set, and we're saying this column is what I need. The same thing goes to the other one, the column. And we also want to put a label on your chart. That's why I'm saying plt.xlabel. Call this one the X label separ length, the Y label separ width. And the title of the chart, call it separ length and width analysis. So that's what we have here. It's just this line of code in a single cell gives you this result. What other thing can you do with this integration? Looking right here, to the right, I see correlation matrix. You can even plot, as part of it, you can check correlation. How does this variable correlate with each other? And that is it. By just clicking, inserting, in fact, this one is even way easier. It's just one simple command, sampledf.call, which is the correlation. And you say numeric only, means only the number, only the variable, the column that are numeric. Those are the only column that should be considered when plotting this correlation chart. Interesting. Just wow. I see a question there. Can we get back to the video later? Sure, we can get back to the video later. It's recorded. You can always get back to this. Gift is asking a question here, saying, wow, so TheOyinbooke, this means that what is required is for one to type in the required codes to be run on the cell name from which the output should be displayed. Exactly. I'm going to do that from scratch. It's just placing those results wherever you want the output to be displayed. That's where you should put the cell and then write the function there, the code, and it's going to give you the result. It can even go ahead and develop a pair plot, which is a complex plot now that consider many variables and plot them against each other, so they can use that to observe patterns. And that's exactly what this is doing right now. I didn't write too much of code, but if I click on this chart now, you can see I'm not even the one that write the code. This time around, it's using another library called seaborn. PyPlot, matplotlib is a library for chart. Seaborn is also another library. Seaborn, matplotlib is the native one that comes with Python, like the native graph chart library for Python. But seaborn enhances your chart. The kind of visualization you see when you use seaborn is very interesting because it leverages the grammar of graphics. So there's a grammar of graphics. So you use that techniques to build this chart so it can be more beautiful. You can append, a chart on top of another chart and superimpose and put it something to the right on the. It's just so interesting. This is not about grammar of graphics. I actually did that while I was still undergrad in statistics founder level, using the GG2 plot, which is in R, but it's the same concept that is applied to CBON. Okay, so as simple as this, you just pairing plot and say all these guys, pair them against each other and plot a chart. Rather than just plotting one, you can now see, huge and a lot of chart here. I would like to stop here and quickly work on something. We've just expressed this now. Let's do something practical. This is practical, but let's do something that will write the code from beginning so that you can also learn a lot through the thought process. And in this case, I'm going to load in the data. So I'm going to load a data, our financial sample data. If you're wondering how did I get this financial sample data, let me quickly present and share my entire window for just a moment. Entire screen. I just want to show you how I got this. I got this directly from Power BI. So and you can also go online and say sample financial not statement data for Power BI. You can put Excel. Also need the Excel data file. So you see, download the financial Excel workbook from Microsoft. When you open Power BI, that data always is there in Power BI. So I'm going to put on my Power BI so that I can see the sample, but you can download the Excel file of that same data. I'm turboing my system so that the thing can be fast. Yeah. So this is how I get the data. You can click on this button there. Financial sample Excel workbook to download this, or if you use Power BI, data is right in Power BI, because when you open up your Power BI, which you can see on the screen right now, this try a sample data set. That is it. If you load it or you launch tutorial, if you launch tutorial, it takes you to your browser and you're going to get you up to this point where you can also download the Excel file. Downloading the Excel file should be somewhere around there. In case this is what you're using, yeah, you can download the financial Excel sample. And if you are in Power BI, you can load sample data, which automatically just load the same financial sample into Power BI to learn and the solution. Okay, so that is the data that I am using. Just want to make that clear in case you want to also download that. Okay. Oops, I just realized the screen was not shared. So let's go back now and let me do it. Okay, I'm sharing my screen now. So I typed in on Google. Let me look at the command query. Sample financial data for Power BI Excel. That's what I typed on Google, and it brought out this. I click on this link, and I'm here where you can download financial sample Excel workbook. I also open up my Power BI. And I said, when you open Power BI and click on try sample data, this guy will launch the tutorial and take you to the Excel file, or you just load the sample data here. You see the same sample data that we're going to work with that is here. That's a financial sample data. All right. I want to believe this is clear. Okay, so let me stop presenting and then go back to this screen. Still wait. I have to manage all this multiple screen. All right. So I'm back here. So I've downloaded the Excel file, which I'm going to load up. So I have this. I'm going to delete this guy. All right. I'm going to delete this guy as well. Okay. So right here with me is the sample financial data that I just want to use to do some demo for you as well. Okay, so you have it right here. So what can we do with this data? So many things, but let's use it to just get to know Python integration to Microsoft Excel. What am I going to do here? First, how do you write the command? Remember, on the formula menu, you see Python. Python is there. So let's assume we want to start here. And I'm going to store this table inside the data frame. Remember, I want to store everything inside the data frame, and I can call it demo df. But how do you initialize this? You start by putting the formula equal sign py. When you put equal sign py, it just shows one icon like that, and when you put tab key, it converts that cell to Python so that you can understand that what you're writing here is Python. And there's another way you can press down Control Shift Alternative plus P all at the same time. That is going to throw this off for you. In case your network, the screen is not clear, you can toggle the video right now and put it, the resolution is likely because of your bandwidth. It might reduce the quality of the video you are streaming. So you can actually toggle, increase the video streaming resolution from your phone or device. Okay. All right. Thank you, guys. We can see your screen. I hope you can see my screen right now. Okay. Okay. So when I put py, I'm going to type sample or demo df, demo underscore df, that data frame, and put xl and open brackets. Because I want to copy everything from this data set on the table from beginning to the end, I will select the first part of it, which is the first column, and then it has extracted only that column, but I'm going to press that Control Shift and arrow key down to select all that I have on that column. Then still press it, then arrow key to the right. That selects everything to the right. And when you look at the formula bar here, you just say, oh, this guy, I'm going to put it right there, XL, financial data, that's the name of the table, it's a table, it's called financials. And say all, and header equals to true because I have a column there, that's a name column. So that's why header is true. If there's no name column, it should by default is false. So if we don't specify, it's going to make it false. And right here, I can press my enter key. So when I press my enter key, all it will do is just to load this data. Oops, just have to go back up. So, sorry, enter key will not, I need to run the code. So I control enter. When I press control enter key or the checkbox here, I see what is wrong there. This Excel, I've typed the Excel myself. I don't need to type it again. It's already there. I use this check mark to check it and everything will be fine. Okay, so what do we have here? We have something interesting here. I did a diagnosis scheme. This is a data frame already, meaning this guy has been added as a data frame. And that's what we need to reference going forward. That data frame. Let's bring this closer to you so that you can see it. This is the data frame that we reference going forward. Right. And when you toggle on this guy that like a slab that was placed on each other, you will see that this data has been converted to a data frame, and we can start writing a Python script against it. And of course, if you want to output it as a table, we already have it here, so there's no need to actually throw everything back to us as a table, which you can do here. How do you do that? This checkbox here, when you click on it at the top, you can see exec value or Python object. So this is the Python object. When you click on the exec value, it's going to return the same table that we just converted. So that doesn't make much sense. And when you have this spill message, is because it wanted to write everything into a single cell, which is more or less like, oh, there's a spill error. I cannot, spill range isn't blank. It wants to spill everything there, but this column is not blank. There's a cell here, so I can delete that. I can delete this. And immediately I do that, you're just trying to override what is there and spill across those cells. And now you can see it's the same table that we have here. This is why, but this guy is the table. And that is why I don't want to convert it, because we already have the table, but now it's in a Python object that we can start working with. So I can go back here and convert back to Python object and everything go back to this. Good. So now that we have demo underscore df, you can start doing some things with this demo underscore df. What are the things? First, Control Shift Alternative P automatically convert that to a Python cell. And I can say demo underscore df, but that is the variable. Dot head. Head is a description, is a way to describe and show, sorry, control enter. It will give you it will give you the top 5. Tail will give you the bottom 5. So head give you top 5, tail give you bottom 5. And then all the columns just give you data for the bottom part. I can split this particular data If I come here and, on this icon here, you can see the array preview to show you, oh, this is the guy. This is what will happen. This guy is only previewing, it's not actually dropping those data on these columns. So I come back here and remove, and this guy just, I don't need it. Okay. So we need this kind of information so I can turn it to Excel value. It's just going to show me this is the top 5 or bottom 5. I have that. I can also describe this data. Remember, we saw that the other time, Control Shift Alternative P, and I can say demo, it is demo underscore df dot describe. These are simple Python command. If you want to do this, I'm going to press Control Enter or click on this check mark here. These are simple commands. If you want to do that in Excel, you still need to do quite a lot. For example, this top 5, you don't do anything. The top 5 is already there. But this describe I just did now, it's not straightforward like that. So I have to convert this to Excel value, which give me all the 5 numbers summary. For all the columns that we have, quantitative column. It said we have 700 rows, and these are the data about them. So describing this thing in just one single line of code, and you can comment what you're doing at every point in time. And I just want to hope that this is getting clearer for us. All right. So let's do a few more things here, because I'm just literally showing you how this thing works. Let's do a few more things before we go to machine learning and use a different data set and build a model. In fact, the time has gone, but I will do all my best just to keep this under 1 hour so that I can go back and do something and maybe spoil you to growth. Okay, so still with this same data, I want to continue my analysis with this data, and let's convert the date column on this table is not seen as date. So so after you start working with it, you know that this guy is not recognized as a date in data in the data frame. So it is here just saying this guy is date, but in the data itself, it is not. And that is why if you try something like this to check the data type, when you want to check data type, you put the variable name, which is demo underscore df dot dtypes. So this type gives you the data type. It says a series, but even though it's not showing and spilling everything for me, when I come over here, I can see array preview. Okay, array preview is not giving me what I want. So when I come over here under Python string, it's just trying to spill them, but it's not doing them the way I want. But you can see that segment as a column is seen as objects. Objects are text. Country is seen as object. Product is seen as object. Discount band is seen as objects because it's a band, it's categorical. Sold is seen as float because that's numerical. Manufacturing price is seen as integer because it does not have decimal places. Sales price, on and on like that. So date, even though it's not showing that number, date is not seen as date. So if you want to use date, then we need to also convert. That should show how data cleaning works. Instead of using the option in Excel, you can convert that column to date. So how do we do that? Let's go quickly. Here, Control Shift. I'm right here. Control Shift Alternative and P. Convert that column. Remember, demo underscore df. That is a data frame. But within that data frame, what we're interested in is a single column called date. So I need to select that column, which is what I've done right here. And what I want to do to that column, I want to convert it to date and store it back in that same column as date. If I want to create a new column, I can name it right there, save it in a new column. But I need it right there in that same date column just to override it. Things like pb dots to underscore date time. So what I'm doing is, pandas, that is the library that is doing this manipulation. It's a data frame library for managing your data as a table. So it's also the one that can help you do this manipulation here. So I'm saying use the function called to date and time. So there's a function called date and time that can help you convert anything seen as object or string to date and time, given that it's a date and time. So I'm going to open up and pass that column to it. And how do you pass it? It's demo underscore df and call the name of the column, which is date. So that way it is saved as, the reason why I say non-type is because I did an operation, but I'm not returning anything back. So how do I return anything back? I just go back and say demo underscore df. That give me the overall data. So it's going to run and then come back, not with non-type, but with a data frame. And this time around, it already have the date as a date. So let's also do a grouping. Let's do a group here. After this category, I will plot the chart. After I plot the chart, then we go back, we go to the use case on data science. But I'm just using a different data set now so that we get used to this. Okay, so let's create a segment for our country. And Control Shift Alternative P will open up that Python option. Then I'm going to call a variable called country seg. That's country segmentation. I want to group sales and the sum of sales by country and by segment. Of course, you can use pivot table in Excel to do that. I think I should do a session where we do it usually with Excel and then see what the equivalent formula is in Python. But this thing is becoming friendly now. And how do I do this? It's still data frame. My data frame is demo underscore df dot group by. I want to group by. What am I grouping by? That is the first command. What are you grouping by? I'm grouping by what? By country, because I have country there, and by segment. So those are the two categorical variables that I want to group those things by. And as underscore index equals to false. The index can affect the numbering system, just the internal numbering system. Because we've done some transformation now, so the internal numbering system can be altered. But here I'm just saying, don't consider index. And we have specified the categorical variable we want to group. What end do you want to group? Add sales together. Add sales together. That's just it. And how do you say that in this? I put a full stop and I'm going to say aggregate. Aggregate of what? Sales. Sales is what I need. What kind of aggregate should be carried out? Sum. You can do average. You can do different aggregates. So we are literally saying that sum sales and then group them by country and segment. That is all. That is all. So I need to return this if I want to see the result. Otherwise, nothing will show. And so I have to press back country underscore seg. It was very interesting because while I was doing this, I got an error. I'm not sure if the error will still. Oh, yeah. The error came up again that column says do not exist. And I was surprised. Why would column says not exist? Says is there. Let's check the column. Let's check if column says is there or not. Says is here. This is column says. So what's wrong? So I click on says and I check and I realize, okay, what's that mean? So there is a space before says. And that can't affect of the character. You see, there's a space, before says. And that's the heading. So, and I was writing that there's no space. So there's an error there. A good way for you to do this just to edit it because you have the data right with you. But I'm not going to use that, to edit. Of course, I can write a new function that will clean, but I don't want to go a long way. So I can, of course, do it. Otherwise, I can write a Python that will transform it and clean it before we now move on, to do anything we want to do. But right now, I have saved this guy and it's going to reflect on my data. So if I come down here, this guy now is back to data frame, which I can, is that what I was doing? Yes. I can throw this out as Excel value. What were we doing? We were summing up sales by segment and by country. You see that in that single line of code, and I'm using this to print out the results. Sum my sales by segment and by country, and I have this. The sum of sales by segment by country, and you can plot chart about this. Yes, you can plot one or two charts. Let me check in case there are comments. There are things that I'm not aware because I'm sharing my screen here. Okay. Right, there's no comment. Yes. Awesome. So let's quickly go back there and do one or two charts before we start our data machine learning use case. I just don't want to dive in straight into it. I don't want to assume that you have some basic understanding. That's why I started by showing you, some things and then move on to working and writing the code directly alongside with you. Okay. Let's plot one or two charts and then we go back to another data set. So that way we also going to learn better. So in plotting my charts, of course, you need to import library, depending on the library you want to use, but let's import our two libraries. Remember, from matplotlib is a library. You can say import pyplot as PLT. I can also say import matplotlib.pyplot as PLT, but I'm just saying that in English so that it's easier for you. From matplotlib, import pyplot and store it as PLT. Oh, I made a mistake here. I'm sure you can see that I did not activate the cell for Python. So use equal sign, py, and tab. It's going to activate it, and tab P. Or Control Shift Alternative P is going to activate that. So I'm going to say from matplotlib import pyplots as PLT. Okay, you can write multiple lines of code here. I'm also importing cborn as SNS. It's common, traditional for data scientists when you started learning, at any point later it becomes a culture and tradition that when you're importing your libraries, there's just a convention you use. But this guy should be PLT, not PLY, or PLT. You import matplotlib as pyplot as PLT, cborn as SNS, import pandas as PD, import, sklen, all those. I mean, it's a tradition. So in case you are wondering why am I putting SNS, I'm putting PLT, this is why. Right. So let's plot. I'm going to save this inside fig, meaning figure. Fig equals to PLT, meaning pyplot dot figure. So this will enable for matplotlib, you need to put it so that I can print out and visual and show you the chart it has plot. Without this, it will not show you. So it's either at the end, I write plt.figure, it will show, or I just save that function inside fig. So that at the end, I just call fig and just going to throw out the image that has been plotted. Okay, sorry. Explaining this little by little. So let's also now start plotting. SNS dot, depending on the kind of plots that we want, because there are so many plots in SNS. But let's look at plots. I'm going to see my data equals to, what's the data frame? Country underscore seg. That segment data that we have. My x equals to, because we specify the s, which is equals to country. My y is equals to sales. And I want to augment it with the segment so that the segment can form a different pattern on the chart. So that's the hue parameter. If you don't put hue, it's not a must, but hue, because I have a third variable that I also want to put inside it. What is the kind of chart I'm building? Is a bar chart. This is not a lot. This is what I've done. I import the libraries. I make this function so that I can print out what it is. And I'm saying, create a cat plot for me and use this data set, which is stored inside country underscore segment. That is this guy, 3 column here. And then what is my x variable rather, is country. The other one, quantitative variable here, is sales. And the hue, which is the distribution across all those country and sales, is segment. The kind of bar I want is a bar chart. And that's what I've specified there. Okay, so I can also describe how I want it to be so that the visual is good. But let's go ahead and put fig here. So I can call fig, come back to this. Whenever you see this busy, show that it's trying to load. And now the image is done. We have it here. When I over on this, you're gonna see this is the image it has plotted. And I can also click on this guy, this plus sign, and click on image. It will insert the image here. but the image is very, 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 very small. So how do you enlarge the image? We have to enlarge the columns and enlarge all the, when you enlarge the rows and the column, then you start seeing the chart becoming really big. Okay, so that's what we're doing here. Do you see? See, across Canada, these are small businesses. This is interesting. You can see segments, country, and all across this. So we can also make this code and this chart more readable. How? I'm going to click on it, and on here, I'm going to come back to this and add a few things like function for axis in pie plot, because some things are merged together. Mexico, United States, I can't even see them on the chart. So I can say for axis in pie plots, actually not pie plots, in plots dot axis dot flat. So for this, go to say axis dot set. I'm setting the x tick label x tick labels. Worry, these are functions that whenever you're plotting the chart that is very big, and also you can do this trick just to show or expand the label and make something rotational so that you can easily read it. In Python, just like setting the direction of the label, instead of the countries sitting on top of each other, let them slant. Let me rotate them. And that's exactly what I'm doing there. I'm rotating and I'm showing, oh, what's the degree of rotation? Right there, 45. Don't get busy. The picture is loading. This guy is also loading. Whenever I see this Python show there's an error, indentation error expected an indentated block. Okay, where is that? All right, so it's saying there. I ought to put yes. I ought to put an indentation so that it can know this function is running for this guy. Get xt labels. Labels. It should be label. Okay. Labels. Yeah. So I'm using the right hand side, the error function at the right hand side to read and understand this, and that's why it is really helpful. And you can see now those things are now slant. I've rotated them, so you can read it more. You can do many more, but let's go into the data science side. We can say a lot can be done. This thing is a separate video. I'm going to do detailed video, more like a short course. It's free on my YouTube channel that takes you through these things step by step, so that you can really get time. We have less than an hour here, and yet we want to do a lot. So time might not permit us, but first, it's just to show you and help you and give some idea of different things you can do. One of the assignments or tasks is to go ahead and further analyze this data. We are stopping here, but I want you to go ahead and do other analysis. You can do segment by country. Same thing we've done here. You can do it again, but just rotate instead of segment, put country here, put segment here, just to see another direction for the chart. All right. So I'm going to open up a new initiate, and here we'll start the data science machine learning projects. Okay. Machine learning project with Irish. All right, let's code this like this. Okay, and let me expand so that I can see it more. Right, I guess this is big enough for us now. In case you have questions at this point, please feel free to go ahead and ask. I will respond to your question. And thanks, Gift, for sharing details and some comment with people. Okay, so let's go ahead here, and we have a data set. You can import the data already, but I'm going to use another method to bring in this data. And that also gives you some leverage. So you know that there are multiple ways to bring data. It's not a must to have the data directly in that Excel workbook. You can have it in the workbook, you can have it online and just I drop it down. But this particular data we are loading we are going to load this one from the library, because within the Python, the library that has been embedded into Excel, it has some data set that you can actually play with. Okay, so let's start here. So I'm going to start right here. Don't forget, equal sign py, tab key, return this to Python, and then understand it. So let's import some libraries. Typically, in data science project, what we were doing before was basically the data analyst trying to use Python in Excel. It's not detailed enough, but at least you can see how it's making the work faster, But as a data scientist, most of the thing we do, once we start our notebook, we start by importing the libraries we use. Sometimes I advise that you should import the library you are using at each stage you are using them, so that I can even know why you are using them. Otherwise, you might just import some libraries and you don't end up using those libraries. It's not really valuable. So let's start here. Let's import some libraries and check our environment variables according to the workshop that we're following. So I'm going to say import joblib. Joblib helps you to export your model. After you've trained your algorithm, you can export the model. So I never knew, I didn't know about this before, but finding out, I was really excited because it means to a very large extent you can view the model in Excel and still export to deploy on a different, maybe cloud, or you want to do on-premise deployment. You can export the pickle file, just the way we use pickle in data science, to turn our model to a package that you can throw in any way to go and use there. That same way, that's what job can help you zip your code, zip your file, zip your results, all those kind of things. Okay, that's why it's there. We also have import sklearn. Sklearn is for data science. It's a data science library. Import numpy. You're going to import numpy as np. Don't forget, like I said, this integration has over 400 libraries pre-installed. All these basic libraries you have there. It's only when you want to do advanced analytics and all those deep learning you might want to start installing those libraries. But here, import numpy as np. You want to import pandas. I feel like a beginner right now. But this is the way we have started. I import pandas as pd, import system, SCS, and what again? Let's create. I just want to print for you so that you see right now what are the things, versions that we're using. This thing is not magical. So what has been done here is Microsoft has created a system in the cloud that anytime you run this code, is the system that executes it and returns the result. So it's not Excel that is running. So because you don't have Python installed on Excel, Excel is not ID, it's not the integration development environment. Then you are doing your Python right within Excel, but Microsoft Cloud is one powering. So there must be a machine, a computer somewhere where this thing is installed on and you are using it, but it's showing you the result here and it's working for you here and it's secure. Okay, so let's look at the environment. Where is this code even running? What Python is installed on it? What NumPy, what version of these libraries are there? This library will be imported. Let's check, how that is running. So how do I check that? I have to create it. I just want to create a variable and call it environment details. I want to store those things inside environment details. You don't need to always be doing this, right? Just we are learning, and all this information goes a long way. So goes a long way for us. And what I'm doing here is putting this F, meaning I want to write a text. I want to multi-line. I want to format a text in a multi-line. And within the text, I want to add variable to it. Meaning I'm going to be writing some things down, they are text, and inside that text, you'll be seeing some other dynamic content there. Okay. So also I need to put it indentation by just using my tab key to move forward. So Python version. So we're going to say Python version. What version of Python are we using? So that's what I'm simply saying here. Right. And for Python version, how do I get the version of Python? Because I've imported this thing, so I just need to use this curly bracket and say, since we have the system where this thing is running, what version is installed on it? Dot version. And it will return so many things. But what I need, just give me the first 6 characters. Give me the first 6 characters, and that's what you add here. I don't want you guys to see this as complex. It's not. It's just saying, and you don't need to be doing that every time. And after that, NumPy, what version of NumPy is installed on this system? So remember, NumPy has been saved as np. So np dot on 2 underscore and put version and 2 underscore and close this. Move on to the next pandas. Same thing we've done, pd dot to underscore version underscore close it, the curly bracket. Scikit-learn, which is for the machine learning part of it. Scikit, that is where we get the scikit-learn version. We have already imported scikit-learn, so we also do the same thing. Curly bracket, sklearn dot underscore version underscore. Then we can also check this system, the computer that this guy is running, what is the available CPU? How many CPU is being provisioned, all these things. So I'm using my job lib library. So CPU underscore count. Count the number of CPU that is provisioned for this thing that we're doing. And that's the essence of the formula of the thing that I wrote there. That that 3, 1, 2, 3 that I quote at the front. Now I've written a text. Now I've written a long text here, and I've quoted it that, okay, everything is right here. Store this guy inside environment details. And then these are texts, but these are variables. These guys are changing. But the font here is a variable, like a label. And now that I'm done, this thing will run, but I need to print it out. So otherwise it will not show because it's stored inside environment details. So I need to go ahead and say environment. Yeah, environment underscore details. Right. I'm going to run this. So it's loading and it's busy. All right, it's done. But I need this guy. It's just printing it in a different format. So let's turn it to an object, a Excel value. When I print as Excel value, it's going to show up right here. Right. And everything stores on a single line saying this is the result. Python version is 3.9.16. NumPy version is 1.23.5. Pandas, scikit-learn, the CPU is just one CPU that is assigned. So meaning it's possible in the future to directly take your workload here on Excel and maybe provision a cloud CPU that has GPU components so that I can do every work. But for now, it's just a simple CPU that we're using. This is not relevant to building this data machine learning model, but it's good so that we keep learning as we are going through this process. So the Irish data set is what we're going to load. I'm going to go right there and load this. I'm also checking the time in case you have questions. Okay. All right. I see. I'm just hoping that the explanation is clear. I'm trying my best. When I do detailed video, I will share more on that. So, okay. So let's go back. Let's we'll see here. Let's continue. And what I want to, let me load my data. So I can come right here and say load data so that you know what I'm doing at each step all the way. So I'm here that I'm loading my data. Don't forget =, py, tab key, activate the set for you. So because there's a library called Irish, there's a other sklearn for data science, there are libraries inside it, their data set there. So is that same sklearn? I'm saying sklearn dot data set, because that's the data set function that stores data sets that comes with it. So I can use it to do a lot of things. Just the way R has some data set library that comes with it. This same Irish data set is there. So I'm going to import load underscore Irish. Iris. It's Iris. I call it Irish. Wow, interesting. It's Iris data set. In case you want to learn more, I will drop the link about this data set. It's a flower, an iris flower. There was a lot of behavioral science study in the past where they collected that data and then measured the width, the length, everything about it, and then determine what type of iris it is. It is separate. Setua, is it different type of iris? You see those names here and soon. And then we've been using it for different overflows. It's been used for different data, statistics especially, we use it as a sample in different computation. So that's the same data set I'm loading here. That's why it's good to do some work that generation. So let me create a variable that iris =, load. Remember, I'm loading iris, so I'm going to load underscore iris as underscore frame equals to true. Are you loading it as data frame? That's what we're saying. We're saying yes, load it as data frame. Now, X, because I do data science, X is your predictor. Those variables that you want to use to predict something. So X here is going to be the way the model has been built, data set inside this. The X variable, they are stored as data. The Y, which is the target, is stored as target inside iris. So X is about 4 or 5 columns. Y is just a single column that you want to predict. And we'll visualize this together soon. So now that you have this, let me print some information as well. Just the same thing I did the other time. I want to say data set, so that you understand this data set info. So let's visualize what we have inside this data set. Just like what I did the other time to do multi-line function, where I was writing codes. So when you put this quotation 3 times, so you want to write multiple lines of code and you want everything to run together. You don't forget to put the tab key. And right here, I have this curly bracket, meaning I want to get a value from a variable that is changing. I will show you again, because from the previous one we did, we wrote something before we put the curly bracket because we want the value to be at the front. But now I want to say how many samples do we have there, how many features, how many targets. That's what I want to get here. So since sample, the predictor has been loaded inside X, so I'm going to say X dot shape. Shape of the data will tell you. I'm going to say 0. I will explain it. This is good for us because I can comment here samples. That's number of samples. Do this again and say X dot shape. Same thing. If you know what I'm doing here, just drop something in the comment section. Drop it. And I give you something. Features. Y dot values dot end dimension. So I'm going to close back just like we are closing bracket 1, 2, 3. And if I did not print it out, it will not show. So I need to print and say data set underscore info. I want to load this, but I want to also see what you guys are saying. Formatted string. Someone said I'm doing formatted string. Yeah, I'm doing formatted string. But what am I trying to get here as a result? Okay, so let's go ahead and print this out. What I'm literally doing is I need column, I need the number of rows, the number of column. So X shape and put 0 there, say get me the number of rows, because the shape is an array like 0, and you need to read from it to say 0, 1, 2, depending on what you read. Sorry, it's in unexpected indentation at line 12. There's an error here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, this guy should be data set, not inside the indentation, should be right there. The error message is also helpful to let you know what goes wrong. So you see 150 samples. This is the sample. So this is the sample. So this guy is what is telling me the count of the row. So when you do shape returns something, in an array, but I'm calling that array that, okay, in a list, I'm saying on this list, give me the first thing you return on that list, which is the number of samples. Say 150. Second one, what's the number? What's the second one, which is 1, is the number of features. How many variables are you using to predict? Which is 4. We're going to visualize that soon. And Y is what's the dimension of the target variable is 1. So, and that's what this guy is doing right here for us. Okay. So let's view X. Now that you know what this is, let's view X. So I can literally come here and now check our X. Our X is like the predictor. So if I type X here, X is going to show up. But what I mean, I want to visualize so I can, it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be very long. So let me just check here and check array preview. We just showed you this is it. Just shows you this is sepal length, sepal width, petal length, petal width. These are the 4 variables. This guy is the index, is the internal numbering convention for those data. And this is so interesting because when I was learning data science, I did not see all these things. I can't visualize them. I just know there's an index. What of it? How is it being done? But right here we can see it truncates the data from 0 to 150. There are 150 because the numbering start from 0, that's why you're seeing 149, and just show you the top 5 and the bottom 5. So if you say x dot head, it's going to show you this top 5. X dot tail is going to show you this bottom 5. X dot sample is going to randomize, and just select 5 from across the entire data. Okay, so we have the data frame here. So good. But for y, which is our target variable, and I also want to put that beside y, which is the target variable here, because it's n dimension. So I need to say 3y. Y is not a data frame. It's just one single list like this. So I need to convert it, y to frame. So that way it's going to give me y, so that I can also place y beside others. Sorry, I'm used to pressing enter. And enter key will do the work until, yeah, y frame is here, and I can just click on this guy and say array preview. And you see, it's called, this is the index, and the other column here is the target. 0, 0, there's 1, there's 2. If I come back to this sheet, you will see what I'm talking. Oh, this is not the sheet for Irish data sets. Okay, so do we have it then? It seems we don't have Irish data set, so I can print it out. I can print everything out in a different sheet entirely. The data is already here. So you see, it is a label, but machine understand numbers and not letters. So that's why it's already being, sort of standardized. 0 means Setua, 1 means something else. Let me see if I have the Irish data set. I can just bring it up and also show you. Let's show you how Irish data sets. Okay. I'm not sure I have it. Okay, so I'll see, I'll find it and just share with you guys. All right. So now that we see that, let's start doing training and test splits. I'm mindful of the time. It's exactly 1 hour, and in fact, it's over an hour. I don't want to stretch this. So what we should do next is to split and train and split our data. Train, test, split the data into training and test data set. Beyond that, we can also, before that, we can start visualizing. There's a little to clean in this data because it's already data more or less prepared for this kind of sample demo. But we should visualize all the charts, do the charts, train and test split, and load in our algorithm, do some feature engineering, PCA, principal component analysis to factor analysis, just to understand the data better and recategorize and do some feature engineering. And after that, we train an algorithm, we compare the results, we do the decision tree, confusion matrix, and all those stuffs. Given the way we're going, I will not be able to complete that on this call. I don't want to stretch this unnecessarily. What is left now, I can do it in 15 to 20 minutes if I record it. But if I have to do it on this call, because I'm saying it, I'm checking the call, I'm doing other things, it will have to take us like an hour. And I honestly have some plan. I was thinking I can complete all this within an hour, but I'm unable. And I do not want to unnecessarily stretch this. That is why we would have to call this day here. But I want to take your question. Let me do the next 5-10 minutes to answer questions. So in case you are watching it at any point in time, I will drop the link to the complete video from here. Maybe I should just do everything again so that it's a use case for us. So I'm going to do a new video completely end-to-end, upload during the course of this week. And that's why you should subscribe to this YouTube channel, because you get notification once that video drops, and you can then follow through. But this one you can practice with it till the weekend, because some basic concepts I will not share again, especially how we're using the sample data when we started, how we use the financial data, and we did all those things. The video I'm going to release will go straight to the machine learning component, which is where we started now. But we've done about 40 minutes on other basic elements, which is also useful. All right. So we're great to have the workbook. Okay, good. Just as it is, I'm going to save it, and I'm also going to put it put the link in this video. Immediately after this corner, I will save it and then put the link in it so that I can directly download it, and maybe go through it. Okay. Awesome. Any other thing question. I believe adding the end-to-end in a single video and very short is easier for me to manage. When you're watching the video, speaking to you at a personal time, but this it always take longer time when you're instructing live and you want to answer questions, you want to attend to everyone. Okay. Yes, this video will be available for download. I don't know what you mean by that, but yeah, on my YouTube channel is there. And if you have, I think YouTube Premium should be able to download. But if you say download offline on your system, except you have a means to do that. Oh, okay. If you start from the beginning after this, okay, if you start from the beginning because it's already recorded, what I shared is to activate this, you need to subscribe to Microsoft 365 Insider. And I've released a video today, excuse me, on my YouTube channel that shows how to do that activation. So it's been so good to check out that video. And it's expensive, just about 4 minutes. It shows you two options, how to get it done and enroll for the beta channel and you can have the feature. Thank you, Joseph, and thanks everyone. We're stopping here, but we're not stopping because I want you to, if you have this picture activated today, tomorrow, come back to this video and check quickly what we've done as against weekend when I will be releasing the full strike video that you'll be working on. So meaning your assignment will wait till weekend. I want you to see this end-to-end first and then grab your whole use case. I think the word assignment is not just a project for you so that you can also build something else after this and can start demonstrating your skill. Awesome. So thank you guys. I appreciate it. I'm going to end this stream here today. But learning do not stop here. Bye for now.